is going to be 43. Wait. Okay. Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Nikki, and today's video is just going to be some random quick and easy recipes that I've been enjoying lately that are a little bit lower in Weight Watchers points, and again, just simple to throw together because, to be honest, I've kind of been lacking some motivation when it comes to cooking. I just feel really overwhelmed lately, and it's been the last thing on my mind to make meals ahead of time or just even be really prepared with what I'm going to be making. So I have been kind of slacking on my ingredient prep, but I am going to get back into that. But in the meantime, I've really been just making meals based on whatever I have that's gonna go bad fastest, and I just throw something together with that. And so I thought it'd be fun to just film how I put these meals together and the quick and easy meals I have been enjoying. If you enjoyed this video or find it helpful, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. I don't even fully know all the recipes I'm gonna be including in this because I'm just gonna do this throughout the week with the different meals that I throw together, because it's been a couple weeks of this where I just go into the kitchen and don't have any sort of plan, but I just pick like a protein or a meat, a veggie, some cheese, maybe a carb, and then I throw a meal together that way. I feel like maybe it could be helpful to even show how I build these meals. And today the first thing I'm gonna be starting off with is just like deconstructed nachos is what I call them. So a lot of the time I do like to lay out the chips and make nachos with them, but other times it's just quicker and easier, and I feel like I get more equal amounts on each chip when I just put all the ingredients I want on the nachos in a bowl, and then I just scoop them out with chips. So that's pretty much what I'm gonna be doing today. I've got some ground turkey. This is actually from a local meal prep service that I get food from sometimes. So it's called Duck a Diet, and it's 0 points on Weight Watchers now. So this is gonna be the bulk of my protein for this meal. I'm just gonna scoop it into a bowl. I'll probably do like 4 ounces of it. Then I wanted to include a vegetable. So this was from a meal I made a couple days ago. It's just some grilled peppers. So it's like a half of a red bell pepper here that I'm just gonna add on top of the meat. Then I'm also gonna do 2 points of this reduced fat cheddar cheese. And I think I'll just pop it in the microwave then to melt the cheese and heat up the meat. And after that, I'm going to top it with this avocado salsa. So this is one of my favorite dips lately. It's from the brand Good Foods, and you can have 1 tablespoon for 0 points, but then you can have up to like 5 tablespoons for 1 point. So I think I'm even just gonna kind of finish this container and just have a lot of this avocado salsa as the base of my nachos today, and it'll only be 1 point on Weight Watchers. I'm gonna be using this, and then for my chips, these are just the ones that I prefer to use because they're nice and crunchy. Sometimes I'll just use corn tortillas, cut them up, spray them with some nonstick olive oil spray, and then air fry them to make homemade tortilla chips. But honestly, lately I haven't even had the motivation to do that, so I'm just gonna be using these chips today. And the serving when you scan it is 4 points, but I'm gonna use my food scale and measure out how many grams I can have for 5 points. So it's gonna be an 8-point meal today. It'll be 5 for the chips, and then just 2 for the cheese and 1 for the avocado salsa. But I'm just gonna put all the ingredients in a bowl, heat them up, and then add the salsa and dip the chips in them. It's quick and easy, and let me get the protein total once I finish tracking it, but it's 8 points total on Weight Watchers. This meal is so easy to mix up with the toppings that you use. Pretty much I just use anything that I add to nachos. So sometimes I'll have queso cheese instead of this shredded cheese or a different type of salsa, but it's so easy to throw together, and I feel like it's just much easier to have it in the bowl separately than making them as actual nachos. Okay, so my deconstructed nachos are done. This only took me a few minutes to throw it together, and it'll get me a good amount of protein. But I remembered that I had some fresh lettuce from my garden, so I also chopped that up and put it on top, which is 0 points on Weight Watchers. So this comes out to 8 points total. It's got 507 calories and 37 grams of protein. I ended up putting 4 ounces of cooked turkey. So this is just how I enjoy it. I just scoop the chips in and I'll have a 5-point serving, but that wraps up the first quick recipe. Okay, I'm gonna be making another really quick and easy throw together meal that I'm just using the ingredients that I have on hand, and one of those things I need to use up are some cucumbers. So I've got these mini cucumbers I'm gonna use, and I'm kind of craving just like a refreshing salad with some Italian dressing and some blackened chicken. So I wanted to bulk it up with a couple other things. I'm gonna be using 2 mini cucumbers like this, so I'm gonna chop those up. Then I've got a can of sweet corn here, and I'm gonna use half of it. I'll just keep the other half in the fridge for a recipe tomorrow or something, but I'll scoop that in and use half of the can, which will help me get some fiber in today. I've also got these tomatoes, which I think I might be using these for dinner today, but I'm gonna use a couple and just chop them up to add some juiciness and flavor to this as well. Then for the dressing, I'm gonna be using this light Olive Garden Italian dressing. It's 1 point for 2 tablespoons. And then I've got this feta cheese from Aldi, which is 3 points for 1 ounce, and that's probably the amount I'll use use, but I'm gonna see. I also got some blackened chicken from the brand Tyson cooking in the air fryer right now. I'm pretty much just gonna chop up the veggies and then add in the chicken once it's done, toss it with the dressing and some cheese, and then maybe some salt and pepper, but it'll be super quick and easy, and if I use the full serving of cheese, it's only 4 points on Weight Watchers. I'm gonna go ahead and start chopping. Out of all the meals that I made in this video, this one was the one that I was craving the most afterward, and I think it was just because it was so refreshing and had such good flavor and crunch. So I need to get all these veggies again so I can make this. And again, like most of the recipes I've included with this, you can really mix up the vegetables or ingredients that you use if you have a different dressing that you like to use, or even if you want to include like a bean or a chickpea or something like that, you can mix up whatever you add to it. Even the seasoning you can change up. And anytime I make any meat like this or grilled chicken, it's so much easier to just use my kitchen scissors to chop it up like this. I feel like it just saves time and it's the most convenient way. Okay, so this is finished. I'm gonna have this entire thing for only 4 points on Weight Watchers. I tracked everything so that I could get the macros, and it's about 490 calories. It's got 12 grams of fat, 45 carbs, 39 grams of protein, and 6 grams of fiber. This will be nice and filling. I used about 4 ounces of the cooked blackened chicken, and then I've got the cheese, which adds a little bit more protein, and then all the veggies. So I'm gonna go ahead and eat this, but this was quick and easy to throw together. It took no time. Honestly, the thing that took the longest was the blackened chicken, but it was nice to just have that cooking in the air fryer while I chopped everything up. Moving on to the next quick and easy meal, one that I'm just kind of throwing together with the ingredients I have on hand. And actually we ran out to the store earlier and I picked up a couple things that I was craving. So we're gonna be making a really quick version of shrimp tacos with some rice. The tortillas I'm gonna be using are my favorite. I buy these in most of my grocery hauls, and they're just the brand El Milagro corn tortillas. I'm gonna have 3 of them for 4 points on Weight Watchers. Then the shrimp I'm using is just from Mariano's. It was actually a shrimp cocktail. So I squeezed a lemon on it that it came with, and then Adam and I are just gonna split these up on our tacos. I also got this, which this is why I kind of decided to have this meal. It's just a mango pico de gallo. So it's got tomato, onion, mango, jalapeno, cilantro, and it's 0 points on Weight Watchers. So we're gonna put those on the tacos with the shrimp. And then I wanted to make like a quick Spanish style rice on the side. I'm just gonna use some cooked jasmine rice that I have, but first in a pan on the stove, I'm gonna heat up some of these fire roasted peppers and onions. So I'm gonna cook these for a few minutes, then I'm gonna add the rice in, as well as some of this mild Taco Bell sauce. So this will help give it some tomato flavor and then make it a little bit like a Spanish rice, but like a really, really quick and easy one. And this will be a lower point meal that's really filling. The only things I really need to track are the tortillas, and like I said, I'll have 3 for 4 points. And then I just need to track the jasmine rice, which I have a 4 point serving here. So it'll be 8 points for everything. It'll have a good amount of protein because of the shrimp, and this will only take me a couple minutes to throw together. Honestly, it's just gonna take a minute to cook up the peppers and cook the rice to heat it up. And then what I do with these tortillas is I take a pan, spray it with some nonstick spray, and then cook the tortillas for like a minute at a time on the pan, and then they're just heated up and ready. So I'll probably just heat those up as I'm cooking the rice, but I'm gonna go ahead and assemble this. If I'm ever making a lot of tacos, I'll usually just heat up my griddle and then I can heat up all the tortillas at once, but it's also easy to just take a pan like this and spray some nonstick spray in it and flip each side every couple minutes. And with the rice I'm making today, it's super simple to just use the Taco Bell mild sauce. It adds a nice tomato flavor, and then I just added some cumin and garlic salt as well. Okay, I'm back sharing another really quick and easy recipe. There's gonna be a variation of this one in my new cookbook when it comes out, but today I'm just doing a really quick version of it because I honestly don't even feel like cooking, but I have some ground turkey that I need to use up. This is actually 2.5 pounds, which this is gonna be way more meat than I usually use for this recipe, but I need to use it up, and I'm just gonna use a whole box of pasta to make extras. So we're probably gonna get like 6 servings out of this, and then we'll just have leftovers for the next couple days. What I'm gonna be doing today is making a quick pasta with some ground turkey, ricotta, and tomato sauce. So all I'm doing right now is boiling a pot of water, and I'm gonna cook a full box of this Barilla Protein Plus pasta. I tracked the whole box just to see how many points it is, and it says 30. Pretty much the way I'm making this right now, the only things I have to track are the pasta and the ricotta cheese. This entire thing is 14 points. This is 30. So the whole batch that I'm gonna be making is about 44 points, and then however many servings I get, I'll divide it that way. But I'm gonna go ahead and make the pasta once the water starts boiling. Then in a big pan, I have the turkey that I'm just gonna cook. I'm gonna spray some nonstick spray and just cook the crumbles of this. If it's too much, I might even take out like a half pound so that I just have 2 for this batch. And then I can use the other cooked turkey for a recipe later in the week. But once the turkey's cooked, I'm gonna add some garlic paste to it to add some flavor. I'll probably add some seasonings as well. But then I've got a can of tomato sauce that I'm gonna be using, which is 0 points, as well as some petite diced tomatoes, which are 0 points. So I'll be adding that, and then once I've mixed in the sauce, I'm also going to use this whole container of ricotta cheese. So I'm just gonna mix that in as well, and then it'll be a giant sauce that I'll just combine with the noodles, or I could even keep it separate, but I think I'm just gonna combine them all just to make it easier. Then I got some fresh basil from the garden, so I'm gonna chop that up and add it to the sauce as well. And once everything's done cooking, I'll just combine it. It'll be super quick and easy. It really won't take long. I just need to get the meat cooking, and then once the pasta starts boiling, we can get that cooked. So it'll be super fast, and like I said, I'll probably get like 6 servings, but we'll just see where we are when I finish. This Kinder's garlic parmesan seasoning is one of my most used. I'm finishing up this bottle here pretty much, and then I've got another one in the cabinet because it is just my favorite and it goes with so many different meals. I've also really been enjoying this sweet Italian chicken seasoning, and that's what I'm using today with this meat after I get it fully cooked. And this is just my meat masher. It makes it so it's so much easier to get smaller pieces, which is how I always prefer my ground meat. And this was way too much ground meat for this meal, so I just put it aside, and then it's cooked in the fridge, and I can add different seasoning to it and just make different meals out of it, but it's already cooked and ready. My plan was to use this big pan to add the pasta to it and everything, but it ended up being too much sauce and meat and everything, so I had to get this big bowl and just pour the pasta in and then the sauce just so I could mix it all together. Okay, here is the finished dish. I ended up getting 5 portions, so this is a lot of food here, and this is about 8 points worth. It's about the same amount of pasta that I usually use when I make us a meal like this. So we've got some leftovers now, which will be nice for the next couple days, and this is my final serving of the pasta. So I'm really craving fried rice right now, and I don't really feel like making a big batch of it. I kind of just want like an individual portion. So I'm gonna make one all in one pan quickly, and then I've also got some chicken that I'm gonna have on top of it to make kind of like a copycat takeout Chinese food meal. And I just want to do this quickly. So I've got some sweet peppers that I need to use up, as well as some mushrooms. These are the 2 veggies that I'm going to be using for the fried rice today. All I'm going to do is chop them up, and then in a pan I'm going to put a teaspoon of this toasted sesame oil. This adds such good flavor, and that's what I'm going to cook the veggies in. So once they've cooked for a few minutes, I kind of just soften them up, and then I start adding in some other ingredients, including some garlic paste. I also am going to use some jasmine rice. So this is already cooked, and I'm actually just gonna do a half cup of cooked rice for 3 points on WeightWatchers. Then I mix that all in with the vegetables and some soy sauce, and that's pretty much it to make the fried rice. Also though, I am gonna add an egg. So once it's pretty much cooked, that's when I add the egg in, because I don't like to overdo it too much, but I'll just scramble the egg in the middle and then mix it in with the rice. And then in the air fryer, I've got some of this chicken cooking right now. So I just cooked a 4-point serving, which is 3 ounces. That'll add some protein, and that'll satisfy my craving for some like teriyaki chicken bites. I'm just gonna use a little bit of this sauce and some soy sauce to toss the chicken in. So it'll be really quick and easy to throw this together. I'm pretty much just gonna cook up the rice and everything while the chicken is cooking, and it should all be finished at the same time. Okay, this is another recipe where you can mix up the different ingredients you're using. So I have sweet peppers and mushrooms here today, but sometimes it's even nice to just use the frozen like pea and carrot mix that I have in my freezer. Sometimes I also use zucchini or onion, and I pretty much just think about like the different ingredients that they have at hibachi and stuff, and that's what I can include in my fried rice at home. So once the rice and veggies are pretty much cooked, that's when I can cook the egg in the middle. So I just spray a little bit of nonstick spray so it doesn't stick too much, and then I continue to cook the egg, and once it's fully cooked, then I just mix it in with the rest of the rice. I'm back with another quick and easy recipe with ingredients that I'm just throwing together based on what I have on hand, and it's actually been really nice because I'm clearing out some stuff that I've just needed to use up. Today, one of the things I'm using is some of this Barilla pasta. This just has one serving in it, and it's been sitting in our pantry for a while, and I just haven't ever made like a one serving portion of a dish. So I figured today I would just do that. So it's 2 ounces of dry pasta in here, which is 4 points on Weight Watchers. I've got some water boiling right now, so I'm gonna boil this up. And usually this isn't the type of noodle that I use for the dish I'm making, but again, it'll work. It's just to clear out the stuff that I have. I've also got some cooked taco meat that I need to use up. So this is 0 points on Weight Watchers. It's ground chicken, and I'll probably use about 4 ounces of cooked meat. So that'll help me add about 30 grams of protein. So I'm kind of doing just like a taco pasta, kind of a version of the one that's in my cookbook, but I'm gonna open a can of these diced tomatoes from Trader Joe's and strain them. I'm also gonna strain a can of this whole corn, and then a can of black beans, which I strain and rinse. So all of these things are also 0 points. This will help get a little more fiber and protein into this dish. What I'm gonna do is just mix them all together in a bowl, and then I'll scoop out a serving into the pasta once it's done cooking, and that'll help to add the veggies and more flavor to it. I'll also season them with some onion powder, some garlic salt, and maybe some cumin as well. But that'll be the vegetables that I add to the pasta. So I'll cook the noodles, add the meat, add the veggies, and then I'm gonna add half a serving of this sharp cheddar reduced fat cheese, which is 2 points. So that's gonna make this entire dish only 6 points on Weight Watchers. It'll be really filling though because of the protein that's in it from the ground chicken and the pasta, and like I said, the beans also help to make it a little more filling. This will come out to about 648 calories. It's a little bit higher for calories, but it does have 53 grams of protein, and like I said, it's only 6 points on Weight Watchers. Once the water is boiling, I'll just put the pasta in, and until then, I'm gonna get these cans strained and put together in a bowl so that I could just scoop it in once I'm ready for it. I'm gonna do that. I'm also gonna have some pineapple for 0 points, but that's not included in the recipe. That'll just be the fruit that I have after I finish this meal. Taco pasta is a recipe that's in my cookbook, and it's pretty much what I'm making today, although usually I like to add queso, and I don't have any of that. Sometimes I also use Laughing Cow wedges because those work just as well, but today I'm just using some reduced fat shredded cheese, and to this mix I just added some onion powder, garlic salt, minced onion, and then cumin. And like I said, I don't usually use spaghetti noodles like this, but it actually turned out really good. It almost kind of reminded me of like a chili mac because of the meat and the beans together, and even the tomato. I guess it was kind of like chili mac altogether, but it was really good. Okay, my taco pasta is finished. It's gonna be a little bit messier than normal because, like I mentioned, I don't usually use spaghetti noodles, but it'll work totally fine. It's just a different shape, and it's the same pasta that I always use when I make this. So anyway, I've got this all here. This is 6 points for the entire bowl, and it's definitely gonna be filling, like I mentioned, with the beans especially, and the corn and tomatoes, but I'm gonna go ahead and give it a try. What's perfect about it is it doesn't even need a sauce because the beans with the tomato and also the meat and the seasoning from the taco meat really coats the noodles and gives it tons of flavor, and this is perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and eat this. It's only 6 points, and that wraps up another quick and easy meal. Okay, I'm back with another quick and simple recipe that I like to throw together. Depending on what ingredients I have on hand, I switch it up usually, but it's pretty much the same basic thing. Even though it's pretty hot out today, I'm craving ramen soup. Usually I actually use different noodles. These are the Thai wheat noodles from Trader Joe's, so this is 8 points for the pack. Usually I like to use the I can't even remember. It's like Thai Kitchen or something. I'll put a picture on the screen, but they are 6 points for the pack, so it makes it a little bit lower point. But I'm just gonna be using this today because these are what I have. So these are the noodles. This will be 8 points, and that's pretty much the bulk of the points for this recipe. The only other thing that I have to track, technically this chicken bone broth, it scans and says that it has points, although a lot of the time bone broth doesn't. So it is technically a point for 2 cups of it, which is what I'll be using, but it adds 18 grams of protein as well. Then the protein I'm going to be adding, I have some blackened chicken that I'm just heating up in the air fryer right now. So this is 0 points on Weight Watchers. It definitely has a kick to it, but this will help to add a good amount of protein to the soup as well. And then I always like to add some veggies. So a lot of the time I'll just use frozen veggies. I like to get the bag of like peas, carrots, green beans, and corn. But today I have a carrot that I need to use up and some mushrooms. So I'm gonna chop this up, add some mushrooms, and then I also have a can of corn here that I'll add like a little bit, maybe like half of this, maybe a little less. So those things are all 0 points. I'm also going to use some garlic paste and some soy sauce. And then I'm not using this today because I have the higher point noodles, but I just wanted to show these because they work really well in ramen. So sometimes I will add some of these chicken mini wontons. These ones are from Trader Joe's, but I also really like the brand Bibigo. They've got some as well that are pretty similar, and you can add a decent amount of them for like 2 to 3 points usually. Like I said, the noodles I'm using are higher point. I'm just gonna keep it at 9 points today and not add these in, but it is a nice addition and it adds some good flavor. This really takes no time to heat up. That's why I wanted to make sure to get the chicken cooking first. I'm pretty much just gonna start heating up the veggies and then get the broth boiling to add the chicken and noodles. And it'll come out to a total of 9 points on Weight Watchers. I also tracked it in my Fitness Pal and it's got 58 grams of protein. So that's what the amount of chicken I'm using as 4 ounces and the whole pack of wheat noodles like I said, but I'm gonna go ahead and get this made. I don't know why I always crave soup on hot days, but I was really craving this today, and specifically with these fresh carrots, some corn and mushrooms, and then I also add some soy sauce in and the bone broth, which I actually just buy these cartons from Aldi. I find that that's the cheapest price I've found for bone broth, and that helps to add a good amount of protein to this. So again, I'm just using my kitchen scissors to chop up the chicken. And once I add the noodles in, I just let them sit for a minute. I don't want to break them up too much, but once they start to cook, they break apart and then it's nice and done. Okay, I'm gonna be making another quick and easy meal that I'm throwing together, and this one is actually just a meal that I used to eat all the time growing up. It was one of my favorite lunches to have, and it's tuna crackers that I used to put on Triscuits. It was something my mom always made, but I'm not gonna be using Triscuits today. I've actually got these Trader Joe's savory thin rice crackers. So you can have a pretty good serving of these for 4 points on Weight Watchers, and that's what I'm gonna do. I think it's 18 crackers that you can have. So I went ahead and tracked that. It'll be 4 points for that serving. And then pretty much all I do is make some tuna. So usually I like to use the bigger cans from Costco, but we don't have any, but I'm gonna use one of these regular cans. This is just the Chunk Light in water, so it's 0 points on Weight Watchers. Then I'm also gonna add this packet in, which makes it about the same as one of the big cans. This is just one of the 70 calorie pouches. I'm gonna strain it out and put these both in a bowl. Then I'm gonna season the tuna with a little bit of garlic salt. I've also got some minced onion. And then today I'm gonna use this French onion seasoning from Kinder's. So I'm gonna mix that in with the tuna as well as some fat-free plain Greek yogurt. This is 0 points on Weight Watchers. So I'll just add like a tablespoon at a time and mix it in to make it the right consistency that I want it. I usually don't add too much though. Sometimes I'll add some other things like relish or mustard, which I might actually put some mustard in there. I've got a spicy one that I really like. But after I do that, I just divide it up onto the crackers and lay them out on a plate. And then I put some cheese on top of them. So the cheese I'm gonna be using today is just this thin sliced cheese. It's gonna be little pieces on each one. I'm just gonna rip them apart. I'm gonna use 2 slices for 4 points on Weight Watchers. A lot of the time I like to use shredded cheese as well, but I just find that this one melts a little bit better. So this is the one I'm gonna be using today, and I'm just gonna put it on top of each cracker with tuna, and that'll be the meal. It's gonna be really high in protein because of the tuna and the Greek yogurt. It's about 50 grams of protein and 430 calories. And then in Weight Watchers, all I need to track is the cheese and the crackers that I'm using. So the crackers are 4 for the serving, and then the cheese is also 4 for the serving. I'm gonna go ahead and get that started. I just pop it in the microwave. You could also put it in the air fryer, but I just have always done it that way growing up, so that's just the way I make it, and I feel like it's perfect just to melt the cheese. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this started. Even when I first started my weight loss journey, I didn't really like using Greek yogurt in my tuna, but I've actually found that I like it more and more because it kind of gives it more of like a cheesy flavor, especially when I like to use cheddar cheese with it. But I think what really helps with that is having good seasoning. So today I used some Kinder's French onion, which was really good, as well as a little garlic, salt, and pepper. And I had just a little bit of tuna left. I didn't want to go to waste, so I had it on a pickle, but then I just add the thin sliced cheddar cheese and pop them in the microwave. Okay, I'm sharing another quick and easy meal that I've been throwing together lately. It's another pasta dish, but this is one that I have been enjoying so much, and I've actually gotten some questions on how I make it. It's so easy. This is only 5 ingredients. I feel like I'm missing something right now, but I'm only doing 1 vegetable for it today. I'm gonna be making some penne protein plus Barilla pasta. Whenever I make pasta, I do 3 ounces dry, which is a 6-point serving on WeightWatchers. So what I'm gonna be doing is just cooking the pasta up. I'm also going to cook the chicken at the same time, so I've just got a pound of ground chicken here, which is 0 points on WeightWatchers. I'm gonna cook this in the pan, and then I'm going to add this red bell pepper chopped up and just cook it in the same pan as the meat after the meat's cooked. Then to that, I'll add some garlic powder and then some of this Italian chicken seasoning. This is just the Kinder's brand. And then the best part of this, which actually I haven't tried this brand yet, this will be our first time trying it, but the one I got before was Boar's Head and I really liked it. This one is Fresh Cravings, and it's a sun-dried tomato and basil hummus. So I'm just gonna use this as the sauce. I'll just toss the pasta in it once it's done cooking, and then I also add just a little bit of cheese. Specifically, I'm gonna be adding some Havarti today. So this is just like a 1 ounce, it's actually not even a full ounce, but it's 4 points for the serving, and I'm just gonna break it up and crumble it into the pasta and mix it up so it can melt. It adds just a little bit of creaminess, and it really doesn't need too much with the chicken and the pepper. It's not like an overly saucy pasta, it's kind of thick, which I like about it. Sometimes I'll add just a splash of the pasta sauce to make it a little liquidy, but I kind of like it thicker as well. I'll show you how I make it. I'm just gonna start cooking the meat. I've got some water boiling, which is almost done right now, and this will come together super quickly. I like to incorporate a lot of reduced fat cheeses because it helps me to just stay within my points and still has a good amount of protein, but I have found lately that more full fat cheeses definitely melt better. So when it comes to different pasta recipes and stuff, sometimes I choose those cheeses instead. And Havarti specifically is a really good melting cheese for pasta and stuff. So that's why I wanted to use it today with the hummus, because I didn't really want to use too much hummus on this and I wanted it to still have a nice like melty consistency. This is another pasta where Laughing Cow would have also worked pretty well as a sauce, but that one just takes a little bit longer to melt and you just have to give it some time. But this worked well with the Havarti, and I just mixed it together with the hummus and a little bit of the pasta water. Okay, on to the next quick and easy meal that I'm making. This is one that I have made since the start of my journey, and it's one of my favorites because it's so quick and easy to throw together. I just pretty much need the ingredients on hand to make it. But I actually just grilled up some chicken. So I've got grilled chicken that I'm gonna be using, and I'm going to be making a wrap with some hummus and cheese. So it also depends on if I have hummus on hand. And today I've got this tomato basil hummus. Usually my favorite is actually black bean hummus, and I put queso on top and everything. But today I'm going for more of like a garlicky basil herb type wrap. I'm gonna use a tablespoon of this for 1 point on WeightWatchers. Actually probably like a tablespoon and a half because you can have that much for 1 point. And I'm just gonna spread it on this large La Banderita carb counter tortilla. This is 2 points on WeightWatchers. So I spread some of the hummus and then one of these wedges, which they're similar to Laughing Cow. This is just the Aldi brand, but this one specifically is creamy garlic and herb. It's 1 point for this wedge, so I'm also just gonna spread that onto the tortilla. Then usually I've got some veggie mix made, but I don't have any right now. We need to go grocery shopping. So I just had some frozen pepper and onion mix in the freezer. That's just Trader Joe's brand. It's been good. I've been trying to clean out the freezer as well, so it's been nice to just use some of that stuff up too. And to have this stuff on hand, it's always a convenient option to incorporate more veggies. I just heated this up quickly and I'm gonna add that to the wrap. And then I just always add some type of protein. So I've got some grilled chicken here. This one is a sweet chili marinade that I did, and this one is garlic parmesan. So I'm gonna use some garlic parmesan, and these were just regular chicken breasts that I just kind of thin sliced, although they're not that thin sliced, they're more of just like tenders. So I'll probably use a decent amount to add some protein to the wrap, and then I'll wrap it up and pop it in the air fryer to cook for a few minutes just to make the cheese and the hummus a little bit more melty. easy. That is going to be the wrap that I make. It only takes a couple minutes, and I'm gonna go ahead and assemble it. It had actually been a while since I'd made one of these wraps, and I forgot how much I enjoyed them and how simple they are to throw together, but they have such good flavor. And they're another one that I could just change up so frequently, whether I have like chicken or turkey burgers on hand or whatever hummus I have, it just works well. And like I mentioned, I do like to add queso to them sometimes, so it's nice to mix these up, but they're really filling and have a good amount of protein. Okay, here's the finished wrap. So this comes out to 4 points total on WeightWatchers. It's 2 points for the tortilla I used, 1 for the hummus, and 1 for the Laughing Cow. The chicken and veggies are both 0. This is a wrap that I like to mix up depending on what I have on hand, what type of cheese, what type of hummus, even the protein I use. Sometimes I just like to use like a turkey burger. It's just quick and easy to throw together, and I like to just pop it in the air fryer, but sometimes I'll also use my griddler if I have that out. But 4 points total for that. I also tracked it in MyFitnessPal. It's about 320 calories and 34 grams of protein. That wraps up my last simple meal for this video. I hope you guys found it helpful and enjoyed these recipes. These really are just things I've thrown together with the ingredients I have on hand, and honestly that's just been my cooking style for the past month because I've really been lacking motivation to get in the kitchen and cook, but I know that it's what keeps me on track, and so I've really just been trying to make it as easy as possible, use up the ingredients I have in my fridge and freezer, and still make them tasty and filling. So I hope you guys enjoyed this and found it helpful. If you did, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.